All right, everybody. Today is a very cold day. Last week digging test holes, it was basically 70 degrees and rainy. Today it is a whopping 22 degrees this morning, and we have got to go shoot some elevations today to be able to hopefully install some proper field tiles for a local farmer that needs to drain some water out of a field. Let's get down there, get taking some elevations. All right, everybody, we got the laser set up. We are down here right next to the Ohio River. Got a gorgeous view. This is a local farmer, as stated, needing to drain. As you can see, there's the moisture problem. That end of the field is basically right next to the river. However, all the way over there by the road is actually another really wet spot. It doesn't hold as much water as we have here, but it does basically swamp out the crop. So he's actually wanting to drain that hole and all of these holes at the same time. So basically what we're here to figure out is that elevation higher than this elevation by the river, or is it the other way around? And we're not 100% positive, but it is a pretty long distance apart. So we got the laser set up, and for me, the way I like to start these things is figure out what the height is at the actual laser, which if my receiver was on, you guys will be able to see we are exactly 3 feet right there, 3 feet. So now we're going to walk all the way over there, and we're going to check that dimension. That hole back there, to me, looks like it's got about 6 inches of water in it. We're going to check that dimension, see what that elevation is, and then we'll come all the way out here and we'll check that elevation. While we're doing that, we'll actually get us a distance. So if we do connect the two, and let's just say we have to run everything from there all the way over to here and then daylight out at the river, we know how much pipe we need. I do believe with the amount of water we're talking about, we can get by with 6-inch pipe here. Obviously Mike is going to be the guy who makes that final call, but I definitely think 6-inch pipe's going to cover us. So let's get over here and check another elevation and see what the difference is. All right, everybody, as guessed, there's probably, I don't know, I don't have my water boots on today. I mean, these are waterproof, but they're probably not the best. Let's break through the ice right there. There's 3 inches of water there, and it looks like it might be just a touch deeper there. Check it right here. It's about 3 inches of water. I put this thing on 8 feet. See how I'm assuming that's pretty close. Oh yeah, it is pretty close actually. You guys can still see the laser up there by the service truck. That's actually almost dead on. That was a good guess. So basically what that tells us is from the laser to this hole of water, we were at 3 feet at the laser. We're at 8 feet at the water hole. So we've got 5 feet of elevation change there, which is fall. It's 5 foot deeper at the hole. And then as you guys can see, right here's the river. So it's a great spot to just put water into because, well, obviously there's already water in it. Yes, the river's up right now and trashy. A lot of trash in the river. But now what we got to do is we got to walk this field edge from here all the way out to the road, get a distance, assuming that out by the road is a higher elevation than this hole of water, and we're going to connect the two ditches together from the road to this water hole that's right here in front of us and daylight it out in the river. That way we'll have a length on the pipe, and as stated before, I don't think we can get by with a 4-inch here. I do believe it's going to take a 6-inch field tile, and we may be able to run a short leg over there and tee into this main line, and we might be able to get by with 4-inch for those two holes, and then we'll dry up this entire corner, that next small spot between the service truck and this big hole of water. Well, let's step this off and take another elevation out by the road. All right, everybody. It's cold outside, so I shot the last elevation and didn't video that. It's cold. It's like really cold. It was 70 degrees just a couple of days ago, so not ready for it yet. However, here's what we got. Yes, this is a topographical map of, or maybe I should just say Google satellite image of this area. And this is the actual field that we are working in here. This field being the area that has the wet spot. So here I've got marked 8 feet. Here I have marked 3 feet. Here I have marked 10-foot 4. So reminder, this is the 3-foot mark where the laser was. So the laser elevation is 3 feet. So we take 3 feet off of all of these dimensions. So basically we've got 5 feet of elevation change, and that's a negative elevation change. So we go down 5 feet here. And then from the laser, we go down, this is 10-foot 4. So we go down 7 feet 4 inches, which means from 8 feet to 10-foot 4, there's another 2 feet 4 of elevation change. So it's actually lower all the way out here at the road than it is right here by the river. So now we've got to ask ourselves, are we going to run this pipe all the way from here to there and daylight out in the ditch? Well, lo and behold, we've got another 300 yards we've got to go to get to that same 10-foot 4 elevation. So what it might come down to is running a short section here and a little bit longer section here, and there is also a fiber optic line that runs along the main highway here. So just another obstacle we got to pay attention to. And just as I stated a second ago, it's 300 yards from this corner to that dot, which is where we would have to daylight it out. And then this entire field edge from river to corner is 550 yards. Yes, I can take that dimension on this map electronically, but I always like to confirm it. And the electronic measurement was basically 20 feet shorter than this, which probably means it's maybe a little more accurate than me stepping it off. So that's what we got. We'll review this with DP and determine what it is that he wants to do with that section of ground. We have another section of ground right down the road here for the same farmer, and some more elevations to take. This one is going to be more involved with several dry dams. And will our tile plow go deep enough to cut across the hillside, or are we going to have to snake around and around and around, not in circles, but around, back and forth, to stay in the ditch because our plow can't go deep enough? Let's go find out. All right, everybody, here's the second location in the map that we're working with. This highway here is right here behind us. We've got some landmarks to be able to confirm that we're in the right spot. If you look right here, this is a green roofed cabin. We actually know who lives in this home, and it's actually that home right there. So basically, we've got the laser set up here. We need to get right in line with that cabin out at the highway. Take us a dimension here. This is where a dry dam is going to go. And then we've got to figure out, do we have to come across, around to the second dry dam, or can this dry dam feed straight to here? And then we come to this dry dam and Y into this feed, and then that feeds all the way down this ditch to another dry dam, which then connects us to this ditch here, which should be the lowest point in this field. Should be. We got to confirm those things. Let's go take some elevations. All right, everybody. So this is the easiest way to explain it. Just show you. You can see how much water is coming out of that field. Right there in that ditch. Comes around and wraps over and all the way back up through there. There's a lot of water coming underneath the road. And you can see what it's doing in this field here, which makes it very difficult for this farmer to run his straight rows because he's got to pick his planter up, etc., etc. So we would come in a few feet off of this with the proper offset because of the state road, and we would dry dam this up take all that water, put it in a riser, kind of push all this back closed, and the hope is that we can just shoot straight across here and then go up here on this upper side, push up another dry dam as you guys saw in the picture, and then feed from that dry dam to a Y in which this dry dam feeds straight across. But what we don't know is how much elevation change do we have right here. So we got to check that high point. To me, it looks like we're going to have enough depth. I'm guessing it's probably 5.5 to 6 feet difference. So I believe we're going to be able to shoot straight across this, but we're going to go check that elevation. But basically that allows us to close off this ditch, which turns and runs all the way up through there and turns again, goes back that way and turns again and runs that way and turns again and runs that way. This thing squirrels out through this field because this is the natural contour of the land. It's never been shoved across, pushed, filled in, none of that. And it's just, it's causing yield loss, basically, is the answer to what this is causing. So let's shoot straight across here. Let's check another elevation there and see what the height difference is, because we do have to get a little bit below grade here. Then we're going to go straight across, and on the other side of that hill is supposedly a lower spot, which it definitely looks that way. So let's go confirm these things. Yes, it's cold. I have a hood up and wearing gloves. It's freaking cold out here, people. All right, this is a great explanation right here. This is the same ditch that comes from the road all the way up there. You can see the water flowing down. And we have another ditch shooting off that goes all the way up over there to that low spot, and they merge right here. So now if we go back to this map, you guys can kind of see that there. Mapped it out. 10'6" at the road, 14'6" at this point. Well, heck, you can see where I was standing right there. 14'6" here. That water up there we can see is coming gravity wise down through here. They're both feeding that direction, and then you can also see that there's a high spot in the field with another low spot over there, which is the main ditch, which is this ditch right here that runs down through there, kind of in line with my finger there. So we also took another high spot dimension, which is 9'2". Yeah, I've got chicken scratch for writing. And I got a distance there. The 7'4" is the high spot closer to the road. That's 50 yards from where that first dry dam is going to go. And then we've got another 75 yards. It's kind of hard to see there because of my chicken scratch, but another 75 yards to the next. So that's a 7-foot high spot, and there's a 9-foot high spot. And again, remember, the taller we get, the lower we are in elevation, meaning the laser is all the way over here at 3'6". So 9 foot, let's just call that 9'6" for easy math. We have 6 feet of negative elevation when we get over here. So this is 6 feet taller where the laser is than this 9-foot dimension there. That kind of gives you guys a good explanation. I am going to review this with DP and determine. I do believe we can get our plow deep enough on this roadside to this intersection point right here behind me. That's the deepest point of this upper side of the field. Now we've got to determine, are we going to run a field tile right down the ditch, up out of the edge of the ditch, smooth it out. I'm not for sure what he wants to do there. I'm not going to step off, be a whole lot of yards back and forth, in and out, over and around. So I'm actually going to take those dimensions on the computer where I got this map, and that'll get us really close. All right, everybody, so it's DP's, you're dirty, DP's lucky day. He's on my channel today. We're getting unloaded. What are we doing, DP? It's your lucky day. You're on my channel instead of me on your channel.
Did you bring any extra clothes?
I brought everything I needed. How about you?
I'm officially on the Mr. Millennial channel.
NY Millennial channel.
Mr. Millennial?
What are we doing?
Hey, it don't matter what channel, some things don't change.
That's right, that's right. We're gonna have some fun, right?
Yeah, we're gonna shoot a bunch of elevations.
All right, let's go get this started. All right, everybody, we've got the laser set up right there behind me. You can see the beautiful view of the Ohio River. We're out here taking some elevations for some more field tile work. Looks like 2022 is going to be a fun field year of field tile. Mike brought the UTV, but I told him I'll walk one just to get some exercise in this morning. We're going to take another elevation and see if we can plow through with a new project that's coming up. Well, I walked 100 yards to get my exercise in, now I'm riding.
I got time to wait on you.
So we just confirmed that the high spot is 5'2" increase in elevation. Now we're trying to find out what the low spot is. Let's see what this says. What's your guess, DP?
11 feet. No, I don't know.
11 feet?
Lower than over there.
Lower than over there. Well, come on, you're the one who at my pond was within, I'm just gonna call it 3 inches. And Jerry and I were thinking you were off 8 feet.
You mistaken that for 3/4 of an inch.
I wasn't gonna give you any more benefit than you were closer than we were. Look at him, he's guessing 16. 16 and some change. You're going deep there, bud. Let's see what it is. We know we have 5'2" of climb from basically the riverbank to the high point, which is right there in between us. You guys can see that. This is what we consider the low point because it's obviously the low point. Well, 16 feet. I don't know if it didn't catch it because he went too fast or what. A little wobbly there, bud.
Well, the wind is blowing. I think it's the other way.
I don't think it's quite that high. We're listening for the magical beep. Now, mind you, everybody, DP said we don't need to document any of this. We'll remember it.
Well,
we didn't catch it anywhere, did we? Oh, there it is. Look at that. you guessed way up there with the birds, and it's right there.
well, that's a good. I'm surprised I can't see that. That's my eye level.
Yeah, just barely above you there.
All right, so that's the same, 6'7".
So the river bank is the exact same height as this right here. So running a short run would work absolutely amazing.
Yeah, because we're going to still keep gaining elevation up there.
Going the opposite way.
If we plow this in, we're going to have to take the dozer and probably cut us. We're going to have to dig, I don't know, a couple 100 feet up with a track hoe, or we're going to have to take the dozer and cut us a bench.
Which isn't going to be a big bench.
And then plow through the bench. But this is why I wanted to be able to plow 6 feet deep.
Yeah, now remember, just so you're aware, I haven't let anybody in on the secret. So be careful what you say. I just said an up-and-coming project, all right?
This is an up-and-coming
Because I don't know if this video is going to come out before yours or not, so I got to be careful. Got to be careful.
Well, Captain Cleaning. So I think, with that being said, we can run a main line over that way. What I want to do is I'm going to go halfway up the field
And see how much gain we have.
Elevation across again.
Yep.
And see if we can. We may divide this up into 2 halves. Mainline it, run up. Mainline it, run up.
And then potentially put one more main line in on this portion.
Well, I think on this field here, we're going to run probably 2 main lines all the way up. We'll put a riser right here to catch this water.
Yep.
And then the 3rd main line will kind of horseshoe out and then dump out in the river.
Over there by wherever that red flag means or whatever that is. Potentially. So there's a little bit of field tile in this field now. It's mainly a bunch of little bitty short legs, and it doesn't appear to have any up in this area. But you can also see that there's not a whole lot of water that stays in here. There's just enough to make it a pain in the butt. Yeah. So we're hoping to mitigate all that. And you guys can see that water standing up there as well. These are the things that we're trying to get rid of so that the next farmer that comes in here can have some nice dry fields to work with. Let's go to the next spot.
Let's go up about halfway up the field.
All right, everybody. It is quote day in the office. As usual, it's a beautiful day. It's not raining. It is 55 degrees. However, I'm stuck in the office today performing some quotes. Not always does it work out this way, but it sure seems like it works out this way. We're going to do a field tile quote We're going to do a field tile layout, should I say. Let's get this going. All right, everybody. So we are trying a new process here. When I say we, I mean me, and I do not have a mouse in my pocket. The customer wanted a main line coming all the way up through this field, and one of the concerns that Mike and I have, and when I say this field, there are a lot of fields you guys can see here. It's all this field here, this field here, this field here, this field here, this field there, this field there, and this field over here. So there's a whole lot of field tile that's going to happen on this job. But Mike and I feel like it's difficult to put field tile up in here and take all of that field tile and run it into one main drain. So we like to try to break these things up into not necessarily multiple systems, but necessarily multiple systems. It's not a redundancy factor, but once we get this drawn, you guys will be able to understand it a little bit better. We like to ensure that if one field tile portion fails, you're not reliant on that main drain for all of them. Yes, there is going to be a drain for certain legs, but we like to break these fields up a little bit better. So let's get started on this here. Again, I don't do this a whole lot. We don't use it every day, so I'm probably going to make some mistakes along the way, but you guys will get to have some fun along the way as well. So what I've done is I have selected a draw line or shape tool. Look at that. Duty calls for a different side of my business. I'll be back. And we're back. So where we left off was I am selecting this draw line or shape tool, if you will, on Google Earth. I have the project saved as field tile LOR, field tile install potential layout. Obviously, we have to get this approved from the customer, but what I am doing utilizing Google Earth is it allows me to see the location in which we are performing this work, and it allows me to draw some lines to also help the customer understand where we plan on putting these actual field tiles in their field. So as you can see over here on this side of the screen, it has popped up and it's asked me, what's this line mean? So this line means this is an 8-inch field tile. Now what we have to determine, and you can see that's the title there, and I've got to determine what I want to put in the notes. What I want to put in the notes long term is a distance. So then I come over here, I click on this tool. It's asking me what type of distance do I want. I've got all kinds of options. Feet is what we need for this one. We need feet for this one mainly because the pipe in which we will purchase comes in feet. It does not come in, oops, see? Made a mistake. Let's do that again. Didn't get the first line clicked properly. But anyway, the pipe that we purchase comes in foot dimensions. It doesn't come in yards. So I come in here and I click on all the points that I made and I get a total footage. So we are looking at, basically I will round this up to 600 feet. So now I can come over here and I can edit the 8-inch field tile and I can put in the number 600 feet. Now, once I have that put in place, anybody who I share this project with will now be able to pull this up on the Google Drive. It will automatically open up Google Earth. It will automatically show them everything that I have put in place, and they will be able to click on this specific note, and it will tell them it's an 8-inch field tile, and it's 600 feet long. This gives us two different positives. It gives us the positive of knowing our layout that has been approved. It gives us our footages, and it allows me to put numbers to this actual layout. I'm going to throw you guys on time lapse here, and I'm going to go through and lay out this entire field, and we will explain everything once we get done. All right, everybody, we've got it laid out per Mike and I's boots on the ground review of the job. But here is my list of everything that's involved. As you guys can see here, there's quite a bit. A lot of 8-inch, a lot of 6-inch. And I will also show you guys when you do click on one of these, okay? This is going to be a list of items that the other person involved, such as Mike, who needs to review the official layout and official cost. Mike's going to be able to select on these things. Once you click on it, it's going to pop up over here, and it says we've got an 8-inch tile, one 8-inch small and big hole riser, because there is a dry dam involved, and this pipe length is 600 feet. So this spells out everything. It's a good material list for me. All of this will be transferred into a true material list to be able to acquire a quote, but it's also a good material list for Mike, an understanding of how much footage of each size we're going to run, and then also how many times we're going to have to dig a hole at the end of that run and put in a riser, both big hole and small hole, and then also how many dry dams we're going to put in. So you see that material list over here on the left scrolling up and down. You've also got the option when you're reviewing this to select on any of these lines out here. You can see how it kind of highlights them. So if I come in here and let's just say I want to click on this little one. Yes, this dry dam is really long. I'm not worried about the length of dry dams here on the actual drawing. It's just to say, hey man, there's a dry dam going to go in here. It's probably going to start up here, curl around, and come in on this side. But this is close enough for reference. It also gives me a visual from bird's eye view of an intersection point, which says, hey, you need to make sure you get the risers in on this list. Yes, I've listed them already, but it's also a cross check. Hey, do I have a riser? Yes, I have a riser. So if you come in here and you click on this, it's going to tell you specifically what that is. Once you click on it, it also pops up on a bigger screen. It says this is a dry dam with an 8-inch small and big hole riser. The materials involved are 8-inch riser, T, small and large hole. I really don't have to specify all those things out for Mike. He knows how this works, but the customer may not always know how this works, and this gets them a large enough detail understanding of the full picture. And you guys can see here, there's a lot of tile involved. And once I get my material list put together, I will show you guys the total footages for this potential job. And just so you guys are also aware, sometimes these farmers say, okay, I understand the cost of the full picture. I also understand that while your equipment's here, it's going to be lower cost if I do the whole gamut at the same time. However, they might not want to spend that amount of money, so they start picking, what are my priorities? Field 1/2, field 3/4/5/6. What is it that makes the most sense for this farmer and gets him the largest ROI, return on investment, in which he can get? You can see there's a lot more going on over in here. There's actually 2 8-inch lines. This is a main line here. This is a main line here. And what that allows us to do is there is a natural ditch that actually runs down right through here. Originally, the thoughts were, let's put one 12-inch main up through here all the way out, and then let's kick a bunch of feeders into it. Well, if this intersection point or this intersection point for some reason unknown to all of us fails, this entire system is now no longer good. So we're running a redundant system, if you will. These fields are not going to feed this 8-inch line. They are going to feed this higher 8-inch line, which feeds the same ditch. So this field is on its own connection point. This field is on its own connection point. So if we see a problem up in here, we know it's suspect potential to be this T or that T, for example. And we can come in here and we can excavate this one area. Have we seen issues like that with field tile? No. Typically, once it's installed, it comes out the other end. But you never know when, let's assume this ends up having a wet spot right here and someone drives over it and it crushes that pipe. Highly unlikely. However, if it does, the rest of this system is still going to work and the rest of all these other systems are still going to work. So we've kind of created a little bit of redundancy to kind of separate it out a little bit. And then over here, the original thought was, let's run two 12-inch lines all the way up through here and then bring all of these down into that. But if we have an issue here, every field is suspect to that issue. Whereas if we break it out into 3 sections, we put an 8-inch main, run 4 6-inch lines to it. This is its own system, takes care of that half of the field. These 4 6-inch lines comes down to this 8-inch main. That takes care of the second half of the field. And then we've got this third field down here in which we'll have individual legs, all 8-inch legs. There's a lot of water that ends up coming through here, and they'll also have dry dams, so anything that gets surface water wise past this system will get trapped into this dry dam and it'll kick it down into that pipe and it won't make the rest of this field wet, but will also still capture surface water in this entire area. So this is a twofold system here. Dry dam capture of headwater, perf pipe 8-inch ran all the way through to catch surface water, and we need the 8-inch pipe for the amount of volume that's here. And guys, when it comes down to determining how big of a pipe you want to put in here, realistically we go look at these fields, and if we see a pretty big washout area, we know there's a lot of headwater coming to it. A, that means we need a dry dam. B, that means there's also a lot of surface water that's going to hit there, so we end up upsizing that pipe, if you will. Would a 6-inch work there? Yeah, it would probably work. Could it fail? Much higher likelihood that a 6-inch is going to fail over an 8-inch. So why not bump it up? You're not talking that much more cost in pipe. We can use the same machine to install both sizes of pipes, which is a beauty. So it doesn't cost you any more labor or hours wise. It only costs you more in material. So it gives the customer a savings with a little bit of a fail-safe, if you will, because you have more volume. So that's the layout here, guys. You can see all of that. We've got all the fields covered. This is now saved in a specific project, as mentioned earlier, and it does allow me to have the capability to share this project. So if I click on share project, it says, who do you want to share this sucker with, man? And you come down here, yes, I'm NYA Millennial, as you all know. And I click continue. After I click continue, it pops up. Do you want to change the link sharing options? Can click anywhere and get the link. Okay, fine, got it, whatever. I'm not worried about that. But it allows me to protect this, basically this project, so no one can manipulate it. Or you can see here, that's the restricted, only people added can open this link, right? Or I can just share it. And this is where I use Mike, and this is where I use people that I don't want to change the layout. I'd put Mike here. Mike can go in and he can say, hey Matt, let's just go back to that other screen. Hey Matt, this one here, I'd like to add a dry dam, so he can draw that across there and it will show me that he added that dry dam in this area, and then he sends that project back to me. Or hey Matt, this leg here, I'd like for it to run all the way up. I know right now we're only talking, let's click on that one, we're only talking 300 foot of pipe. Let's go ahead and make that 1,000 foot of pipe. And let's run it all the way up here to where the brown meets the green. He can add that section, put it in the notes over here, and we can collaborate, if you will, on this project without sitting right next to each other. So it allows a little bit of an efficiency factor, and it also allows me to share this layout with the potential customer. They can see everything that we're trying to do, and I will be able to put a cost to all of this because all of my details are listed. So that's the next step. We're going to put a materials list together. We're going to get that shot off to the material supplier. After I get that materials list put together, I'll show you guys that list and kind of walk you through why I lay it out the way I lay it out. Well, after 20 million interruptions, multiple phone calls, good phone calls, there were interruptions to the process of putting together the field tile plan and getting the material list together. However, it's now after 5 o'clock. It's been a long day, but we have a material list put together. Here it is. As you can see, it's field tile potential. We need, per that plan, 14,100 feet of 8-inch tile, 27,000 feet of 6-inch tile, 9 8-inch T-risers, 14 6-inch Ts, 14 8 to 6-inch Ts, 4 6-inch Ts. I mean, you guys can read. I don't have to read this off, but that's the material list. I have all of this logged on my Excel file so we can track it, but we'll at least be able to provide this farm owner a all-in price to put field tile in all of his fields. And if he wants to break it out, we'll break it out. But at this point, that's where we're at. The next steps to this process are to wait on that cost, plug the cost for all of those materials into our Excel file, run the final numbers, give the customer their bid price estimate. It's always estimates because things can change when you're out in the field. So we don't ever guarantee our price 100%, but we typically don't end up very far from our price. In most cases, our price either hits right on what we estimated or we come in a slight bit low. Every once in a while, there's been an outlier where material jumped up way more than we could handle and it cut into the profit way too severely. We discuss that with the customer, make the customer aware of why, we come to an agreement, price is then set, and we're paid. So with all that being said, that is a field tile layout and quote. You guys saw all the boots on the ground work that I did perform. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to turn those notifications on.